Which pond were you talking about? Pearly Pond?
Put into the basement.
Very small.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we have low usage and that's high pressure.
Hey, Rob,
Yes, sir.
which, I'm looking for the agenda. Which email was that in? I'm getting a file I can't open called Wind Data. Hang on a sec. Let me go back to my inbox. Be the original one, probably.
It should be the original one for October 8th.
All right, give me a
I think I
second.
sent that out to more than a second.
Robert Mora. Attached is the briefing. Okay, so that's the intro.
I can send you another agenda if you'd like. Send you the sheets, I think.
Yeah, it says windmill.dat and I don't have an app to open it. Was the attachment to your email at 1:48 p.m. I do have the opening. That was a
Okay, we
separate
got the
file.
opening.
Wow.
And
That sounds like nightmares to me.
4 or 5 days a week.
Might be easier if you just resend it to me.
If I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Okay. I was happy the way it was.
I know, I don't like the video myself either.
Wait, I may have it. I got it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nope.
I'm gonna print it out just in case I lose it. I'll have the paper one. Just give me 1 second, please. Come on, printer. You can do this. Open in Acrobat. Thank you very much. Print. Okay. Come on, printer. Give me 1 second. I gotta go to the printer here. Come on. All right, well, I guess I'll just have to wing it. Oh, printer started. What do you know? Great balls of fire. All right, well, let's kick it off. Is everyone ready to go over there?
I think Councilor Samuel took a phone call right quick, so I'm sure he should be right back.
I didn't hear you, Rob.
I think Councilor Hamilton took a quick phone call, so he should be right back.
Okay, I'm printing out the agenda right now, so that'll work. And I have the opening salvo. Welcome, everybody. Paul is back. Mr. Crawford, good to see you.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you for having me.
Quite a crew we've assembled. Who's that sitting in the mayor's chair?
Oh, the print's kind of small.
Well, of course, my printer's running out of ink now.
Printer ink right now is a precious commodity.
I should be in the printer business. Okay, is everyone ready over there?
Yeah, I think we can start.
Okay, if the councilman comes in, of course, he could take his seat.
Sure can.
So it's 6:35 p.m. We're going to call this meeting of Laconia Capital Improvements Plan Committee to order. My name is Peter Burnett. I am the chair. Due to the COVID-19 coronavirus crisis and in accordance with Governor Sununu's emergency order number 12, which he issued pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this board is authorized to meet electronically. Please note there is no physical location to observe and listen to the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the emergency order. However, in accordance with that order, this is to confirm that we are, first of all, providing public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. Tonight, we're utilizing the Zoom platform for this meeting, where all members of this committee will have the ability to communicate and the public will have access to watch the live YouTube video. If you wish to do that, go to YouTube and search Laconia NH, all one word, www.youtube.com/Laconia NH. You will listen to this meeting by dialing the following phone number, 312-626-6799 or 646-558-8656. Or you may participate on the Zoom app. The webinar ID for Zoom is 828-7789-5720. Again, 828-7789-5720. And the password tonight is 941215. There's no door prize or anything. By providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting, we previously posted official notice to the public of how to access the meeting using Zoom, and instructions, of course, are provided on the City of Laconia's website, which is laconianh.gov, I believe. I don't see it here on this. Yes, it is. It's laconianh.gov. We previously gave notice. We're providing a mechanism for the public to alert us during the meeting if there are problems with access. And if anyone has a problem, you may call 524-3877, extension 249, or email the planning department at planning@laconianh.gov. The reason we tell you this is that the executive order requires that the meeting be adjourned if the public is unable to access it. And in that event, of course, if the chair is notified, the chair will then have to adjourn the meeting and the business would have to continue. I don't believe there's going to be any votes taken this evening. We're hearing presentations, but should there be any votes, there'll be a roll call vote. So let's start the meeting out with a roll call. If someone would please call the roll if you are present, please state so for the record. Oh, and I believe we also have to state whether we're with anyone or whether we're alone.
Correct.
Right.
Mark Haynes,
Here.
Bob Himmel, on a phone call at the moment. Mike Foot,
Here.
Dean Anson,
Here.
Sarah Jenna,
Here.
Paul Dugan,
Here.
Ben Crawford. Oh, sorry, Ben, you're just a participant. Counselor Cheney,
Here.
Peter Stewart,
Here.
Stacy Susie.
Home Alone.
Perfect. Thank you. And with us tonight, Ashley will be doing the minutes, and I, Robert Morton, the assistant planner, I'll be here representing staff.
All right. Well, thank you. Then I guess we're ready to proceed. Rob, you said you're acting as a recording secretary for this?
Ashley is with me this evening, and she will be doing that.
Okay, all right then. Were there minutes from the organizational meeting that we needed to review?
Yes, there were draft minutes from the previous meeting sent out in the email.
That's right. Does anyone have any comments on those minutes? Any suggested modifications? Sensing none, then I suppose we can accept the minutes by acclamation rather than a vote. But just to be sure, why don't we call the roll one more time and see whether well, somebody needs to make a motion, I guess.
Motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
Motion pending. A second. Any discussion? Sensing none, then could someone call the roll, please?
Mark Haynes,
Here.
is that a affirmative or?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
On the motion.
Bob Himmel,
Yes.
Mike Foot,
Yes.
Dean Anson,
Yes.
Sarah Jenna,
Yes.
Paul Dugan,
Yes.
Counselor Cheney,
Yes.
Peter Stewart,
Yes.
and Stacy Susie.
Yes.
And I'll vote yes too,
Thanks, sir.
on general principle. All right, the motion is unanimous, it carries. Our first presentation tonight is the Water Department. And could we have a representative from the Water Department identify him or herself, please?
Yep. Ben Crawford, Superintendent, Laconia Water. I'm remote and alone.
Thank you very much. So you have the calm, as they say.
All right. So I'll go right through it right from top to bottom. The first section is all of our projects, which are street relays that we would be replacing the water main on. And a lot of these are ones that we kind of pushed for, and then others are ones that we do in conjunction with the road program with DPW to go when they resurface the roads, we make sure we have the pipes in line under them. So the first one on there, Morningside Drive, that is it's an older iron line, so it's a smaller iron line that we would like to replace and go to a plastic line, which is what we're doing now on the 2-inch lines. Woodland and Butler Street, that's just due mainly to age. You'll see it's over 100 years old. Actually has a good history of no breaks, but still just due to the age, that one's one that we put on here. Wentworth Avenue, 290 feet. That's a smaller road. It's a 3/4-inch brass line right now, so it just need to be upgraded to a different material, a 2-inch plastic as well. McGrath Street, Oak to Dyer, another smaller section. That's one that it's a 6-inch line, but it's has a tendency to be plugged up. It has a lot of tuberculation on the inside of the pipe. So that's just a smaller section, but it would really increase the flow in that area. Opeachy Street is the same idea. It's a little longer section. It doesn't have as much of a history of being bound up, but it is similar to McGrath in that respect. Summer Street, this is where we get into meeting up with the road program with DPW. Summer Street is tentatively on the docket for the 22-23 fiscal year. And we would be replacing the main under that street during that construction. And that's an 8-inch main for the full length of the street, 1,300 feet. New Salem Street is another one that is possibly on the road program, and we have a section at the intersection with Cross Street that was never relayed when Cross Street was done and New Salem was done, so there's a chunk left in the middle. That's why there's no real footage amount there, but it's kind of a older section that never got tied together. We'd like to get out of there. Pine Street from South Main to Tyler, again, is due to the road program. We would be replacing under a new road as it was built. Davis Place is, from here on out, I guess the rest of them will be waterworks initiated rather than following the road program. Davis Place is due mostly to the age 1944, but it's also a 6-inch pipe, and on any mains at this point in the system, we're not going any smaller than 8-inch. So trying to get all our 6-inch out of the ground and go to 8. Primrose Drive South for 500 feet. That's a 12-inch. It's asbestos cement or a transite pipe. We have not much of that left in the system, but again, that's stuff that we're trying to get out of there because it does not bode well in time, and that would go to a ductile iron pipe, which is our standard practice now. Orchard Street is another 6-inch going to 8-inch, and also somewhat due to the age with it being 60 years old. Round Bay Road is a smaller 2-inch iron line that would go to it would actually go to an 8-inch line to complete that loop where some of Round Bay Road already is. Veterans Ave in the Weirs, that has multiple different materials and size of pipe on there, so that would need to be done from end to end, or at least where the water line is, and that would go to an 8-inch line. And Pine Street Extension, that's another one that just mainly due to age, you'll see it's almost, or it would be 100 years old by the time we got to that point. Any questions on any of the streets before I move on to the purchases and others? Okay. Seeing none, I'll go on to starting at Waterworks 15, so the pump replacement and upgrades. This is one we put in every year. It's just kind of if we have anything that happens anywhere from the pumps down at the intake all the way up to the plant and our multiple booster stations around the city. That gives us some money in there. If a pump does fail, we can replace it. Distribution system upgrades is both hydrants and gate valves. So a lot of the bigger ticket items in the system, if they need replacement or upgrading, if they are not functioning any longer. The next two are similar, but they are different. So I'll try to explain that. The meter reading system upgrade is the MXU, which is our device that we use to read remotely, our radio read device. So we're trying to get everyone onto those so that we do not have to go in and physically read meters or have people send in cards with card readings. And then the meter upgrade is to upgrade from the brass meters, which are no longer in supply. They're not making them or not making parts for them, and go to a newer plastic meter, which is what all we're able to get, and that would make it more uniform across the board there. Those two items, or those 4 items, I should say at the beginning, are ones that we just carry year to year to keep those programs moving. Next one down, SCADA system upgrade. The SCADA system is what we monitor and operate everything from the intakes out to all those booster stations to the finished water. And that was new when this treatment plant was upgraded and starting in 2009. So that's starting to get somewhat dated, and we're seeing more repairs on that. So we're trying to be a little proactive and get ahead of the game and replace some of the parts that are potential to fail in the next few years. VFD drives, that's variable frequency drives for the Weirs booster station. That is just to increase the control on those valves up there to ramp them up slower and down slower, so to decrease the chance of a water hammer up there, and it also is more efficient as far as electric. Limitoric valve upgrades, those are valves that we have all throughout the system. Again, we try to keep it as uniform as we can from start to finish, so that if something does go, we have a spare on the shelf ready to go, and it has more applications than just one specific. The limitoric valves, we have, I believe, 26 of them in the system. So this would be, again, to start putting that on the docket to repair some of those before we see them go. sander for Unit 18. We got a new 4-wheel drive pickup truck this year. We already purchased it in this fiscal year. It was Unit 18. We're looking at putting a sander in it, so we have another. It already has, it's equipped with a plow, but we'd have another sander because right now we have one sander for all of our booster stations, all of our buildings, things like that. The sign for the water department, that's one that we put in there. As many of you know, Union Avenue was redone this year, so it looks great out there. I think everybody did a great job on Union Ave. The front of our building had a fair amount of work as far as the landscaping with drainage coming down through our yard, things like that. That sign out there has kind of been an eyesore for a few years, but now with nothing around it, it really sticks out. It's that faded purple sign. So we're looking to redo the sign and all the kind of the stonework and the garden around it there to really give a facelift out front there, as we've already seen a good amount of it. Chemical pump upgrades, those are smaller pumps, so not the larger pumps or the valves that we've been talking about, but for chlorine injection, things like that, all the way again from the plant to the booster stations. Same idea. We like to have the uniform pump so that if something does go, we can simply grab one off the shelf, go replace it, and not have to go running around looking for one. Half-ton service truck Unit 4. This was one that was previously on for this year that got replaced with the Unit 18 because we actually hired an additional employee. So we were in turn short a vehicle. So we just carried that over to the next year to then buy a new Unit 4 to replace the existing one, which got handed down more or less, still in service at this time. And a service van, Unit 16, is currently just a 2-wheel drive pickup truck with a cab for the treatment plant for a lot of their sampling and runs to Concord. We're looking at going to a van for that, where it has a little more storage space and better fuel efficiency on those longer runs. And that current Unit 16 is 10 years old right now, so it'd be going on 11 years old, which we try to get them by 10 years, so we're right on the cusp there. Treatment plant overhead door, they've had one of them replaced since the treatment plant upgrade due to it came unhinged and did not fall all the way to the floor, but we're looking at getting the second one replaced before that happens again on the second one. It's the same type of door. The next one, number 28, is the excavator. It's a big ticket item for us. As many of you again probably know, we do a lot of our own digging as far as water main breaks, relays, things like that. So we do have an excavator, a wheeled excavator, and that's a 2005. It's the one we currently have. So we're looking to get one in the next few years. And with it being roughly 300,000 as an estimated item, we're looking at spreading it over 2 years because we can't accommodate that in 1 year. Engineering study for the distribution system, that's to look at where our distribution stands as far as how far we can reach on the pressure we have and just our flows. So when people come in looking at developments, things like that on the outskirts of town, we can give them a solid answer as to yes or no. This is the pressure you have available. You can go up to a certain elevation before you have to go to a booster, things like that. Next one, dump truck number 8. That's just a 1-ton kind of a runaround truck as far as if we're getting any smaller materials, or we'll pack a lot of the temporary line things when we're doing water main relays. So it's not a daily driver, but more use than if we have our larger dump trucks out when you see us on a main break, which that's the next item is dump truck number 15 is one of the larger ones. We have 2 6-wheel dump trucks. That one would be the first one up. It's, I believe, going on by that time would be about 15 years old. Mileage is low on it. We don't use them often, but the age of them, the bodies start to wear out. So we want to get ahead of them before we get into an issue where we have to start replacing major parts. The demolition of the old Weir's tank, you'll see that a few years out. That's one that's kind of always been on the list here, as there's 2 tanks now at the site up in the Weir's. One of them is defunct, out of service. It just needs to be taken down, and it's something we'd like to have done in the next few years, but as it is a bigger ticket item, it does sometimes get pushed down the list with other things moving up. A small Vactor on trailer, that would be basically as we go around, we have a compressor right now. We blow out all the gates and the service box and things like this. This would be just the opposite. We'd be able to suck all the debris out of there rather than forcing the air down there and potentially lodging it further in or having it shoot back up at you. And a ride-on mower, which is what we use for all of our lawns from the treatment plant, which we have a fairly large lawn up there, and then even down to base and around the station. So that would be a few years out. It's still in good shape now, but as we see in probably 5 years or so, we'll be looking to upgrade. Anybody have any questions on any of those? And I'll just go kind of to the bottom and give you a summary of what we look at. You know, as you look at the bottom, our total page 1 and 2 current revenue items, we're right in that, you know, mid to high 500,000 range, and we're generally a little higher than that is what we have available for capital, between 600,000 and 700,000 depending on the year and what we have. So we try to keep under that in case something else does come up, you know, as we follow along with public works. If roads do come up in the budget season, we have a little extra room to move to do a street that may come up or something different.
Isn't that what we usually refer to as an enterprise fund? Is that the same thing?
We are an enterprise fund at the water department, so we run off of the water billing revenues as opposed to the tax dollars.
So how much of what would the impact on the budget be for these items? In other words, are you saying that they'll all be paid out of revenue and there won't need to be an appropriation?
Correct. These are all ones that we would deal with our current revenue funds right through it. You know, at the end of the year, if we have anything left over, we put it into capital reserve. If we don't go through on all of the projects,
Right.
something like that. But it's all coming out of our revenues as opposed to anything bonded or borrowed. It's all money that is brought in from the billing and then in our accounts.
And the Tuesday night, the planning board approved the water main project on Clinton Street. Is that on here?
That is not, because that is actually going to be in this fiscal year. And that was one that came up after the budget and CIP was done last year. And we'll be going for a bond for that. That's why it's not showing on here due to the scheduling and also the immensity of that. That one went to a bond because we did not have the capacity for that in our reserves or our revenue fund.
Okay, thank you very much. Do any members of the committee have a question for Mr. Crawford?
I just got one question on the excavator. Is that the newest one you have, 2005?
Yes, so that's the only excavator we have. We do have a backhoe as well, which we replaced 2 years ago, and we replaced our loader this year. So that's the oldest piece of heavy equipment we have.
Okay, so would you replace 2 years ago?
2 years ago was the backhoe. We had I believe it was a 2000 or 2001 JCB. We went to a Caterpillar in 2018. And in this last year, we actually ended up acquiring it this year in 2020 was a loader, front end loader, which we had a 2003 John Deere, and that went to a 2019, I believe was actually when it was manufactured, Caterpillar.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And I want to say that you did a great job on Lafayette Street. I had nothing but compliments from the people there about the water department and your work there. So thank you.
Thank you. Good to hear. And I hope Winter Street looks a little better for you too.
It does.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Ben, this is Peter Stewart.
Yes.
Just a general question. Is there a long-range plan for replacing water lines? In other words, are you trying to replace a certain length of pipe every year, or is it more crisis management? Just wondering how you approach that.
It's you know, a very tough question to answer because we do kind of go off of a lot of different things. You know, one being the Department of Public Works and their road program. We try to follow along with that because the worst case scenario is they redo a road, brand new road, looks great. 2 years later, we have to sink a bucket in the ground because the pipe broke under it. So we try to first off keep up with that. I think historically we've done pretty well at getting ahead of streets that are trouble streets, which we can kind of work with Public Works at initiating them, that we say, okay, this street's one that the waterworks would really like to tackle. Where can we fit it into the road program so that we don't fall behind on that sense either? That's basically what we go off. You know, a couple of these, the Morningside and McGrath, those have been on there for a few years. Those are ones that, again, we haven't seen the breaks. They're not really a street that we're worried about breaking. It's just that that's going to improve the, you know, the fire flows in that area, just general water flows, because they do have that tuberculation, and we know that they're bound up a little bit. The water has ways to go around, but we're just trying to make everything as efficient as possible so that the water can flow where it needs to go. And as far as trouble streets at this point, we don't have any real pressing ones that are ones that we need to jump at, that we've had multiple breaks on.
Very good. Thank you.
Did you say tuberculation?
Yes,
What in God's name is that?
that is, so a lot of it's just on the older pipe. Some of it may not even be lined. There's a cement lining on all the pipe we put in now. And then we have a zinc orthophosphate, which actually coats the pipes as well. So it kind of gives them a smoother wall. On the older stuff, just debris and all kinds of the materials, the sediment in there will start to build up on the walls. And as that builds up, you'll picture, the pipe is more or less closing up. So less and less water can flow through it. Or just, even if it's not a smooth wall, the friction on it's going to slow it down. You're not going to get the fire flows when you open a hydrant. Say that you had a brand new smooth walled pipe, you would be flowing that water as fast as the pressure would push it.
Okay. Well, I learned a new word today. All right. Are there any other questions for Mr. Crawford? Well, I just want to say you guys do a great job. The major projects that you've done in conjunction with DPW, especially here in Lakeport Square, amazing. And that loader, by the way, I know the sound of that loader at going full speed. I can hear it from my house whenever it goes up and down the avenue, and it made hundreds of trips up and down the avenue, and I couldn't figure out what the sign was until one day I was in the backyard and I saw that thing, hauling a load at 20 miles an hour going, yee.
And that may have been the old one. Is that what you're talking about? So
I don't know, but
I hope so. I hope it's not the new one.
Well, let's hope not. Anyway, that's pretty fast for a loader, 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you all.
All right. Tonight, our next guest comes to us all the way from the Parks and Recreation Department. And we have here with us tonight someone.
They're gonna come up. I'm gonna just help them set up real quick. We get some
Oh,
technological difficulties this year.
Oh, well. That's what you get for electing me chair. What do you think so far, Paul? Fascinating stuff, huh?
Yep.
Yep. Hey, this is where the rubber meets the road, man.
It's all going to be done.
It is, and it's being done in a way that keeps the public involved. So I'm sure our ratings on YouTube are through the roof.
I'm sure that's the most popular channel.
You should do a music video, Rob.
I don't know if the world is ready for that.
Just get all the city employees together and dance to some old disco song.
All right, we'll get you to start it off.
Yeah, let Peter start that one off.
Okay. Well, it'll be a while. Well, I see smiling faces at the podium. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes.
All right. Well, you may proceed.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having us. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you all for doing what you're doing. It doesn't go unnoticed that you are here, and it's almost thankless, but I wanted to thank you for doing this. So there's a lot of, maybe I can take this off.
It might be easier if she was a little closer to the microphone too.
All right, is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Just stay close to the mic if you can. Thank you.
Rob,
Yeah.
is that mic on?
Nope, that was off.
Is that on?
Nope, that was off.
Amy, it works better if you take them off while you're talking.
Okay.
Keep them up a little bit.
And if,
Yeah, otherwise you
Hey.
see the delay. Yeah, it's driving you
is this
crazy.
sound good or not?
Yep.
Is that better?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
That's better for you? Okay.
Yep.
If anyone has any questions, somebody will let me know. 'Cause I can't hear. But I wanted to start off by expressing my thanks to this committee. Last year you ranked the skate park pretty high, and this year it's coming to fruition. So it didn't get the funding from CIP for last year, but we got the funding, and it's going to be here in November. So I just wanted to say thank you, because without you guys ranking it high, it may not have come through. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
On your screen are 12 items that we are looking for this year. I know that seems high, but we're still at a lower level of actual asking prices. I'll just go through them really quick, and then we'll go through them one by one for you. First off is the commercial turf care equipment. You're going to see that multiple times in your packet. However, each one of those is different. It's for a different piece of equipment, just so you're aware. A 4x4 truck with a plow and dump bed, small SUV replacement, a warning track for the Robbie Mills baseball field, door replacements for Memorial Park House, a new maintenance building design, downtown tree replacements in a phase 1 of 3, Memorial Park tennis court. It says renovations, but it's more of a resurfacing and fixing of cracks. A steel roof for the Smith Track building, pavement replacement for the City Hall and Rotary Park River walks, a 35-foot boom lift, and finally the Gale Avenue Beach redesign and construction. So the first part of this is the commercial turf care equipment. We're looking in this section for a riding mower with a 60-inch cutting width. Basically, it looks like one of the two of these. And the one on the left is a traditional gas-powered mower. The one on the right is battery-powered. We have recently, as of yesterday and today, have demoed a battery-powered mower to see how it works. So we're keeping our options open as far as which would be better for our department. But I just wanted to let you know that is happening. However, the one that we are replacing, you'll get a kick out of, maybe. Here is, are you sure, Ashley, that this is what you want? We're not exactly sure its age, but we believe it's a 1999 or 2000 model. And to put it into perspective, here is our own Matt Manser as our 2000 model as well. What this does is these mowers are what we use in the regular parks. It's not the big mower doing the athletic fields. It's doing parks like Rotary. It's doing the outside portions of Levitt, Opeechee, Stewart Park, Wyatt Park. All of those smaller facilities is where this would be used.
All right, I'll jump in. Can you hear me? All right, sounds good. One of the thing, I'll take that off so I don't hear myself.
Just get closer to the mic if you
Also
can.
need to replace another truck. This is 316. It's still in the parking lot, but it is not going to pass inspection. It's got. Yeah, you can get back to your mic here. Yeah, thank you. 316 is not going to pass inspection, so what we need to replace it, and this is what we're looking at. Not this specific one, but we're looking for a 4x4 F350 single rear wheel with a 9-foot cadet body, which I just learned that phrase recently, and I believe that means it's a dump bed, which will provide us some versatility as we need it for a host of different things. We're also looking for that to have a setup to attach a plow to it, and we're still working on what kind of plow we want to get, whether it's a V or like a curved angled one. Speaking of vehicles, we are also looking to replace one of our office vehicles here. As you can see, we've already had one not get inspection, so it's already been sold. Like it would not have, you couldn't use it. So I couldn't snap a photo of it. So you get the parking lot right there. But this is the one that we do have right now is a hand-me-down from the
Police.
police department here. Bob, this may have been your old car. All right, that's good. But what we're hoping to get here is a Ford Escape, much similar to the one that Wes has over at DPW, and we can throw Amy right in there, and she can be driving that around. And this will help us get to all the areas that we can't get to right now. I'm thinking Bond Beach, closer to the beach. I'm thinking all the parks areas that are not easy to get to, right? Like having a 4x4 small SUV there does make some sense. Also, over at Robbie Mills, here is the baseball field. Keith is just started within the last year, and that's him working hard there. One thing that you'll notice isn't here that you'll see at a lot of baseball parks is the warning track there. The warning track is, unfortunately, this should have been put in when this field first started. Unfortunately, it wasn't. And it's a concern of ours because if you're chasing a fly ball and you're looking at the ball running towards the backstop, there's nothing to tell you that a fence is coming. And, you know, that fence is about 6 feet high, which is excellent head height for somebody to run into. And that warning track really should start at about 15 feet. So this photo that you're seeing here is from 30, and about halfway through there should be an area for somebody who's running to see, to get the sense, like their alarm bells will turn on when they hit dirt and realize, hey, I'm coming up to the wall here. This is at 15 feet. This should all be different. As you'll notice, there's a big green monster right there, which is really cool, but it's reinforced. There's cement on the bottom of it there. If someone's running straight into that head on, that could be rough. And I know we've got the Winnipesaukee Muskrats, who are very experienced baseball players, and they're going to know, hey, something's up. Their alarm bells are going to be ringing. But we also have our Laconia Station High School team play there. We have NHIAA hold out their finals for their tournaments there, and we have more and more groups requesting to use Robbie Mills.
So what would you do? You'd cut the turf about 15 feet parallel parallel to the fence, and then what, pack clay or something? What would the surface be on the warning track?
So what it'll be is it'll be dug down about 6 inches and then put gravel on top of that and left with just a minuscule amount so that we can put in what's called turfus. And that is the same exact material that's on the actual playing field. So it matches the entire, the look of the field.
So the groomsmen would maintain it when they do the infield, right?
Correct. But it doesn't just go in the outfield. It goes throughout the entire diamond. So it's the same thing for the first baseman and the catcher.
Right.
Right.
Gotcha.
So just so you know, it's throughout the entire system.
Excellent. It's a beautiful field. You guys do a great job.
Thank you. Oh, my turn again.
Yep.
So the next one is door replacements for the Memorial Park House. The Memorial Park House was built in 1965 and the doors are original. They are failing, however. You'll see here, some of the doors are not actually securing the building as well as they should be due to rust. Heating and cooling are becoming an issue because it's not staying in the building. However, not all the doors are being replaced. Some may not be. The ones that are not functioning as doors probably will not be, but we may in the future, and it's not in this request, we will probably block those off and make them into actual walls to mesh with the building.
So how many doors are you talking, Amy?
Sorry, say that one more time.
How many doors?
5 total.
Okay.
But as you can see in my previous slide, that's 5 right there.
Yeah.
We have one on the each side of the building, and
So two of the ones in the front, I'm not exactly sure which two they are. They're on the right-hand side though. Those smaller ones are the ones that will not be replaced, but will be turned back into walls. Because
Okay.
currently there are walls in front of them on the inside. So they're not being used.
So the primary doors probably are the two on the left, right? One for staff and one for the public?
Correct, those two will be, and I'm pretty sure it's the one just to the, well, the left three,
Yep,
and then the two side doors on either end of the building for
Okay.
emergency procedures.
sure.
We also have, let me get back over there, the need for ADA accessibility. So this is the main door. You can obviously see it's not ADA accessible, and it does need to be. So not only is it the law that we have these things done in the municipal buildings, but we rent it out to a church, and they'll need that. We also use it as the Ward 4 voting facility.
Yeah, it's a polling place,
So
yeah.
again, we need these for our people.
I can't hear if someone's asking a question.
Does those prices, the price on those doors you have as 21,000, does that include removing or replacing those other doors and making this one ADA?
It does include that.
Okay.
It doesn't include some of the foundry type of things. We'll have to do that part of it. But it is the doors being replaced. It is the ADA accessibility button and all that good stuff.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so we're moving on to the maintenance building design. And again, what we're looking for here is just again, the design of the potential of an addition to our current building. Our current building is located directly behind the community center. I'm sure most of you have never seen that, and that's okay. But as you can see, it's chucker block full of all the equipment that we use on a daily basis, including materials that we use as well. You'll see the pallets full of, I'm not sure what it is today, but we get pallets of fertilizer, compost, things like that. And a lot of times we forget about the fact that my foreman's office is in there. Not one window, so it gets a little stinky. So it's just an area that we would like to expand and make so we could put those things in somewhere that's perhaps ventilated.
Are you
But just to
talking
give you an
about,
idea of some other areas. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna
sorry.
say, are you talking about like building a shed addition to that building? You know, just
I'm
a
thinking a little bit more.
Okay,
Thinking, and I will get to it, but on the back side of our current building is
Yeah.
the Wilson Court property.
right.
And that is somewhere we can expand out to. And so we would be on the same sort of lot and the same footprint roughly, but we would just expand out into that one section.
Well, I understand that. Will you be planning on having overhead doors at the end or anything like that?
Most likely, yes. To get all
Okay.
the equipment and all of the materials into it. Yes.
And this is just for the design. You're requesting the
Correct.
the money for the
Yes.
design. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
because we don't know what we can do, what's possible for us. So we want to just make sure we're doing everything the right way, and this money would help us along with that. But you can see that everything is where it should be, and the guys try to keep things as neat as possible and stay as organized as possible because again, they just don't have the space. I'm going to show you a couple of different pictures of other storage facilities that we have. This right here is Memorial Park. It has a small storage unit that is in the parking lot of the baseball field. This is at the Opeechee Track Building. This is our irrigation supplies. And this one, it's really pretty. I know you're wondering why we need storage if we have this beauty. Um, but as you can see, it's crumbling and it's going away, and we do
Is
not
that
use
Messer
it.
Street?
Actually, no, that is the state school property.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
so-
roof has had it.
Yes, that's on the state school property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It does need a roof.
how many square feet addition are you guesstimating you're going to need? And are you talking about multiple locations or just do you think the addition to your existing structure on Wilson Court would be sufficient?
I think that if we were to do a multi-level, that would be sufficient,
Okay.
staying in one area. And that would be beneficial to us because we don't have to then go out to get the materials, or we don't have to go out and get that piece of equipment.
Yeah. You don't have a forklift or anything probably, do you?
We do not.
Okay.
Can you all hear him?
No.
Can you turn your microphone on?
Are you planning on an addition that would be adequate for the future also?
Correct. Yes, that is exactly what we're looking for. We don't want to do it again. So do it right the first time is kind of the way we think we should do it. This property would give us that space. I mean, we would keep the other facilities as well, because we already have them. Well, minus bottom one. But we would keep those for things we don't necessarily use on an everyday basis. But yes, we would look to have that property be solely our home base.
And are you going to, when you go for design, you're going to have an HVAC system that will handle whatever emissions are from the materials so that it's safe for employees to be in their offices or whatever?
Yes, whatever the designer suggests.
From a health and safety standpoint.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good.
Good question, Dee.
Any other questions on the maintenance building?
No?
All right. Well, I just have one more picture for you. This is the Wilson Court property. If you were to stand, kind of turn to your left, if you could, in this picture, that is where the back side of our building is.
Right.
So this is
There's
more you're driving down Wilson Court, and it's straight ahead.
And there's a residence at the behind that fence in the back, right?
No, that's DPW.
Because isn't there a house back there that's accessed off Union Avenue set back from the street? Or is that to the right in this photo?
That's to the right of this photo.
Okay.
It's not accessed from this area though.
Okay, I'm just thinking setbacks.
Understood.
Okay. Nice tarpage.
Got to protect our dirt.
That's right.
So, sorry. So this one is going to be an interesting one for us. So we're doing 3 phases. This is the phase 1 of the downtown tree replacement. Basically what's going on is currently we have a lot of trees that are dead, dying, or already gone. DPW literally just took out probably 10 trees 2 weeks ago that were completely dead. Some of them are too big for the area right now, and they're keeping the sidewalks. Others have been shaved down the side of them, and they don't look good. So what we're looking to do is completely remove some trees, replace some trees, and add trees in other areas. We're also using standards from other major cities around the country who have actual downtown tree standards, which I love. And basically they tell you how far away to be from light poles, tip downs, other trees, entryways, traffic lights, stop signs, that kind of a thing. And they explain how close you should be. And so we went down there with the state manager, but we figured out where we could be. And it looks like we can have, out of about 90 trees down there, we can have about 40 to go back. What I would be looking for
on the left-hand side, you'll see one of the shaped trees. This is in an area right by the parking garage. It's real narrow there. It's hard for a tree to grow the way it wants to grow because the trucks and the cars are coming through there. And according to state forestry, a tree has to provide, you have to have 13 feet of space under the first branch for trucks and vehicles to get through standard wise.
So you need something there that has a fairly high canopy. It has to be like a long trunk, a bare trunk with branches at 13 and above.
The one currently there?
No, I'm saying, I'm thinking in terms of what kind of tree could exist in that narrow alley. They don't have a lot of root space, and they have to get, they have to be up above the traffic, you say.
Correct. So unfortunately, what that means is that in that area, we cannot have trees.
What
No
about
trees.
elms? They have developed elms that are genetically immune to the Dutch elm disease, and they tend to be high crowned trees. I don't know how fast they grow. That's the only thing.
So basically what's going to happen is these trees aren't going to have time to grow that big.
Right.
It's about a 10 to 12 year lifespan for these guys. And what we're looking for is to make this ongoing every few, every 5 years, we alter and we change out some trees. We can't have them grow to the size that we allow them to grow.
Okay.
It's going to cause problems that we don't want.
All right.
I'll show you an example of that shortly. But so all of the trees down that corridor there on the left, they will be concreted over, and we'll probably try and get more of the barrels out there during the summer. We recommend more of those.
Okay.
But in other areas, we can move the beds and do that kind of thing. On the right hand side, you'll see that poor little tree there. This didn't make it. I think it got hit accidentally, I'm sure. But it's in the spot that we want to now boost up, right? It's right in front of the Laconia. We certainly don't want something like that marring our beautiful new building. So that being said, these are just some things that we are looking into. We have some issues with other trees. They get hit by vehicles, they get hit by snow plows, they get hit by snow, the sidewalk plow sometimes, when they're doing snow removal, things like that happen. I mean, it's life. But it obviously affects the tree significantly. This is what I was showing you with the heaving of the sidewalk. But another part that I want to show you is that our plan is to extend the tree bed. So not only will we put new trees in there on a regular basis, but we're going to give them an environment that, all right, it's a little rudimentary, but pretend that's dirt.
Get you.
So what we've done is we've doubled the space of dirt for that tree bed so that that tree is healthy the whole time it's there. Granted, we're not keeping it there for a long period of time, but while it's there, it's going to be a healthy tree. The plan is not to put in any soil amendment for the tree itself, and the reason for that is it was discouraged by the forest demands expert, because then it will, the roots won't go under. It'll stay in that little box and it won't want to move. And now you've got a sticky tree that in a windstorm isn't very secure because the roots haven't gone out. So they don't suggest it. Any questions on the downtown tree? Phase one. So we're looking to do 3 phases. We're looking to do about 5 different types of trees, so that if we did have that Dutch disease again, it wouldn't devastate our entire crop. We're also looking to do it in the 3 phases because you're going to get to maturity sooner, and we don't want to do this all at one time. So if we do them in succession and every 2 years, we have another phase, then in a couple of years after that, we can start that process over again. But we don't have to go to the length we are going to go now. What we'll do is we'll have to just remove the tree and replace the tree. Whereas now we're going to be concreting 30 free spaces, and that's in this price. So we have to pay attention to that at this point, where we won't have that in the future. So we'll just be removing trees and replacing trees.
So what about pocket gardens? The pocket gardens that are downtown are beautiful. What about some more pocket gardens where we have where you have up against the parking garage, you can't put a tree. What about a pocket garden?
In the same spot? We could.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, whatever species based
Perennial.
on the amount of sunlight and.
Yeah, perennial,
That's absolutely an option.
dwarf trees.
Did I miss something? I'm sorry.
No, I was saying you could put in perennials or dwarf trees somewhere.
Mhm.
Trees that won't get that big. Shrubberies. Shrubberies. I'm sorry, this is my second Zoom meeting today, and it kind of does feel Monty Python-esque.
That's awesome. Any other questions on those three at least?
You're not going to use trees that have fruit.
No, no fruit bearing trees. I mean, every tree has fruit bearing, but nothing
Right,
that
right,
actually
right,
will drop
right.
on anyone. I've
Right.
heard anyone.
No nuts, no berries. We have enough nuts. We got this guy,
Plenty of nuts, right?
Monty Python, you know, he doesn't need any more nuts.
I'm gonna hand it over to Matt then.
Can you hear me? All right, say silence is yes. I'm back over at Memorial Park here. We've got an awesome tennis court over there. This is where our Advantage Kids program happens over the summer, where a bunch of local.
Hey guys, excuse me, I can't hear anything.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
That's,
you got to get close to that podium mic.
yeah,
All right, how's?
that's great.
Yeah, we're good.
Absolutely.
That's
All right,
good.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's great.
So, like I was saying, Memorial Park Tennis Court is where Advantage Kids, the program that teaches Laconia kids how to play tennis all through the summer. It takes place here, and as you can see, there are cracks all over it. This is the second court. There were some people playing on the first court, and that was the best one, and it still had a giant crack going right through it. So you can see these are good. And what we've done in the past is we've band-aided them up, right? So just covered them up with something and made it good and moved on to the next thing. But the problem keeps coming back. So what we are proposing is to, I'm going to read it here. We're going to fill the cracks and apply a geotech membrane. And then we're going to overlay it with 1.5 inch of asphalt and then coat and stripe the court, and it's going to be good as new. Instead of band-aiding it, it's like filling it in and then making it right. And we're hoping that this will, not hoping, this will solve the problem and make our tennis courts over there good as new. We'll move on to the steel.
Can I ask a quick question on that? Do you know when the last time that was done? Huh?
3 years ago.
The whole project?
No, the Band-Aid was 3 years ago.
Didn't we, just trying to think, I thought we redid that whole thing at one point, but I could see the cracks, but I mean, I thought we had, okay.
It looks like you have a subsurface problem.
Right.
Throughout the entire.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you were planning on removing any material in order to.
Not quite that bad. Yeah.
If you're going to remove material to reset it.
Earthquakes.
Next thing we want to bring up is steel roof for the Opeachy track building. We saw a picture of the inside of this building earlier, going over maintenance storage. But as you can see on the outside of this, it's hurt a little bit also, especially on the roof. And we need a new roof. What we're asking for is steel roof over this that will provide a 50-year warranty, and is something that we've been relying on for a long period of time.
Okay.
And then finally, we have the pavement replacement. I asked Amy if we go on a field trip right now, but she said that's not what normally happens. But if you just on your way out of here, if you go up and down the river walk right behind City Hall here, and then over here to Rotary Park, we're going to see pavement at this beautiful park. That's just, it's not what we want to do. It's not what our standard. All the pictures I'm about to show you are pictures of different sections of the walk between here behind City Hall and the Rotary Park. So we got these there, pavement moving there, pavement moving there, and now we're moving up here behind City Hall here. All of these white marks that you're seeing were once orange. So for the past few years, we've been marking the
That's from
where there is a crack.
that's
Those are the
roots.
tree branches, right?
Yeah, those are tree
Yeah.
roots that are doing that. That's foundational.
Sorry?
I was gonna say, I walked that strip the other day, from the parking lot behind City Hall and down around, and, this part that you're looking at right here is tree roots, and it occurs to me that you can't just resurface. You have to redo the foundation, don't you?
Yeah. We'll need to tear up and get on in there and
I mean, we don't want to take the trees out, but
Of course.
may have to build it up some more.
If you build it too much, you may kill the trees.
No, I get that, but there's a way, isn't there, Dean?
I don't know. It's not my specialty, but
I also noticed, not related to this, that there's a porta potty behind City Hall. And I'm wondering who maintains that.
We do.
Okay, and I assume that's for our homeless friends downtown to use primarily? Yeah. That's a good thing to do.
One thing about the roots, last year we had asked for the exact same thing. And we had talked to you about the bio barrier, and you had asked us to come back and give you the information. The information we gave you last year, all still relevant. However, it's not something we're going to go with this year. We are looking for a little bit less. We don't want to put the chemical in there. We basically, it's, for lack of a better term, and it's not this, but for a lack of better term, it's Roundup on this section of the bio barrier. And it, you know, when the roots go in, they don't want to touch it, so they turn around and they go back the other way. And it works, but do I want it right there by the water's edge? Not necessarily.
Might it kill the trees?
What? I'm sorry, say that again.
I said, wouldn't it kill the trees?
No.
It's a systemic herbicide.
No, the roots don't like that chemical, and they just turn and they go back the other way.
Mhm.
So it doesn't hurt them, but it doesn't encourage them to grow over there.
Well, I think you're right to be concerned about doing that so close to a public body of water.
Right. So they do have options for us that are non-chemical, and it's basically a mesh piece of
Right.
something that we put in there as a barrier to keep the roots back.
Mhm.
so are you talking about tearing up all of this asphalt when you do this?
In that section, yes.
Will it be reused on site? Otherwise, it has to be considered a hazardous waste, I believe, right?
The asphalt?
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, I've talked to Public Works, but they've.
Oh, I'd give it to Public
classified-
Works.
They've classified the used asphalt, anything in the road surface as a hazardous waste, and it has to be taken by a special hauler to a special landfill unless it's reused on site.
I don't believe so.
Okay,
But we will work quickly with DPW because they're the ones that helped us with this plan in the first place. So they'll help us figure all this out.
Okay.
We'll do it right, I promise.
I'm not accusing you of not. I'm trying to be helpful.
No, I thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on from the pavement there. And we'll go back to Amy.
Oh, sorry, you get me again. So the 35-foot boom lift, basically, we're looking for this acquisition for the department in order to get to the high places, which we routinely have to do. Currently, when we need to get anywhere up there, we use the DPW bucket truck, which is very helpful and it gets us where we need to get. However, they use it as they should. So it's very difficult sometimes for us to actually have access to it. And sometimes our needs are, we need to get it now, we need to get that limb, we need to do whatever it might be for safety reasons. And they have the same issues, right? So they have to do their work, we have to do ours. So we're looking to do this, where again, both departments could use this. A couple of things that we could use it for are tree pruning, of course. We have a number. Somebody have a question?
I didn't hear one.
Okay. Tree pruning is obviously one of the major things that we will use this for, and honestly, the number one thing we would use this for, because there are a number of trees that we can get to at almost every single one of our parks.
Right.
The way that this piece of equipment works is I don't have to have a truck that goes across my fields or making any divots, and this is a relatively lightweight that can move over to any area in the park without having to do it.
Yep.
Another part is that we can do park for paint it, repair it, light it, whatever it might be. And of course, a traditional holiday tree that would have to be decorated by a certain date or somebody knew about it. And this is not a simple process. This is we're talking millions of lights. So it takes a couple of days to do. And it's hard for somebody to lose their truck for a couple of days. So again, these are just things that we could use. And again, use our vehicles.
Would you use it? Would you also use it perhaps to clean the second floor windows, City Hall, things like that?
No, I'll use it for the cleaning department.
Because I got some second floor windows up here at Park Street that haven't been washed in years, and I could leave my property as a park in my will.
There you go. Got the right name.
Yeah. Oh.
Where are you going to store this?
In the building you're gonna let me have.
So are we building the building first, or are we getting this lift first?
Well, I guess we'll get the lift first. We've seen the windows of that building. I'll tell you that.
Right.
But yeah, we would keep it in our facilities, obviously.
Okay.
So if you don't get the new building,
it's just going to add more to that really organized building that will no longer be organized. We'll have to find a place for it.
We will not put the state's old property.
But you'd be able to get up on the roof.
Yeah.
All right, so our last one is the Gale Avenue Beach redesign and construction. Erosion has not been gentle on this beach, or on this property, I should say. The shoreline has significantly eroded, and we're going to have to fix that. We're going to have to put some drainage in there, put some retaining walls, things like that. These are just some cases or some examples of what we're talking about, and it's going to be clear to you what we're referring to.
there used to be a dock system at this facility. And it had to be removed for safety reasons. It was damaged and we had to remove the dock. But public access to the lakes is a commodity that we really need to promote. And so the thought process is to put a new wharf in there for the promotion of launching canoes and kayaks. Not to jump off and swim from because it's very shallow, but and maybe we can design it in a way that it's not able to be jumped off on. But there had been a wharf there for nearly 100 years until we had to remove it. So it's just an idea. I don't know what will come of the design. And again, we're talking about redesigning this. There are two parking spaces only. It's not going to be anything that we can really promote this because we don't have a parking. It's sandwiched between two residential homes right there at the end of Plow Avenue. So again, we like to keep the public to a minimum at this facility if we at all could. But I think launching kayaks is a perfect use for this type of event.
I believe in my youth, there used to be a public dock there.
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
I said, I think there was a years ago in my youth, I remember there being a public dock.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that looks like the remains of a ramp or something there.
There was, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we attach it to. The old one was a stainless steel, and unfortunately it got pounded with a rock and it became a hazard. Pieces of it were shooting up.
Yep.
We had to remove it. So does anyone have any questions?
I have a question about number 13. You decided you did such an awesome job at Bond Beach, and now it looks like you're recommending that the bathhouse improvement be done next year.
We have to wait for the design itself to get through, and I have to wait for that. So I couldn't ask for that this year.
And Du Bois and King, that's the contractor, the design contractor?
Correct.
Okay. And you don't yet have that design?
Not at the present time, no. We were having to go in and we took some samples not samples, but we took the TV cameras and went into the drain system so we knew what we were working with. So DPW helped us with that, and so now we're getting close.
Did you guys do the drainage improvements using city employees, or was it a contractor?
It was contracted.
Okay, well, good job. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions about the presentations tonight that we received, PR 01 through 12, 1, 2?
I think if you're gonna put a ramp at the end of Gale Avenue, or on Gale Avenue, keeping people from swimming is going to be impossible.
We're not trying to keep anyone from swimming. We're trying to keep them from jumping off
Right. Okay.
into a very shallow,
Okay.
rocky area. That's all we're trying to do. It's
Okay.
jumping off the docks and trying to dive is where we get nervous.
You're talking about it being used for launching non-motorized vessels, right?
Correct. Yes.
So you
Kayak
couldn't
and canoe.
launch a jet ski there or something?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, there you go. Are there any other questions for our fine folks from Parks and Rec? Not to be confused with the TV show.
Yes, I had a question also on the Gale Ave. I went over there, and would the redesign have more than 2 parking spaces?
So unfortunately, we're stuck land-wise for parking. It currently has 3, but other than that, we don't have any other land available unless we wanted to take some of that land for parking, and I don't think we want to do that. So I think 3 places is all we will have.
I know that people do use the side of the street to park.
I mean, if I was the neighbor that lived right next to there, I would actually rather have vehicles parked there on, using some of that grass space, because that way it would discourage people from hanging out there.
Mhm.
And it would make a great little kayak or canoe. And I mean, I wouldn't mind looking at a parked car, but I could see where the neighbors would get kind of frustrated if people are like literally right in their front yard. Just a thought.
In this situation, though, they're right in their backyard.
And there is on-street parking allowed on Gale Avenue, of course. On both sides.
I mean, that can be part of the design, though. We can figure out what's the parking in the design.
Right. Well, Stacy has a good point. It's, if we can pick up a couple of off-street parking spaces, that would probably be good for the neighbors.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions for our friends from the Parks and Recreation Department? All right, well, I guess you're off the hook for now. Thank you very much for your presentations and your graphics.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
I especially like the way you photoshopped the the city logo on the vehicles. That was
It's all him, all him.
I had a Ford Escape for many years, not as fancy as that one, and it was a very dependable vehicle, I'll just say.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Couldn't have done it without you.
I'm sorry?
I said we couldn't have done it without you. Okay, let me shift through my papers here. I'm pretty sure that was the oh, Rob, where'd they put my agenda, man?
Thank you.
Oh, I know where it is. There it is. Okay, well, I guess that concludes the program for this evening. The next meeting, Rob, when is that?
It's on the 15th.
15th at 6:30 p.m.
Yes, sir. And it should be the remaining departments, which is going to be the police department, fire department, public works, and the planning department.
Well, okay, so that'll be a long one. Will it be the same link, or is it a different link every time? Presumably.
It's most likely going to be a different link.
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing that's confusing.
All
right. So our next meeting is scheduled. I think the next matter that could come up is the matter of a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
I heard a motion to adjourn. Is there a second to the motion to adjourn?
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Well, then, sensing none, the motion passes. I declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you all for your service, and have a nice night.
Thank you all.